Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeaimMD here with a video about Mega Heracross. I want to talk a little bit about it since it has been recently released and how I feel it will impact the meta, or at least talk about what it can do in this meta game. And of course, if you guys have any thoughts on Mega Heracross, feel free to leave them below in the comment section, as well as any potential movesets that you might have, because the sets I'm going to talk about, they're not necessarily the only sets that can work for Heracross. Now, Heracross is ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. It has base 185 attack, which is 515 maxed out, base 115 defense, and base 105 special defense. Of course, it does have the lowered speed of base 75 than regular Heracross. However, with the bulk, it's alright. Though, obviously, with the change to how Megas work when they Mega Evolve, it does automatically have that lowered speed. Which does make it slower than Pokemon such as Heatran when it Mega Evolves with an Adamant nature, or even with a Jolly nature. But Heracross, again, it is a ridiculously good wall breaker, and we have a few sets right here. The first one is the all-out attacking set. Now, this is basically just maxing out your attack, maxing out your speed, and just hitting hard, punching your opponent down. Close combat is ridiculously strong, being able to 2-hit KO Pokemon such as defensive Scizor. Easily pin missiles there because it breaks through Sableye as well as Tangrowth. Any Tangrowth, it does not matter. I would advise pairing the all-out attacking set with something like Tapu Fini, or even Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu obviously giving you recover, Tapu Fini making it that you can't be burnt because of the misty terrain. Now, Rock Blast I feel is necessary since defensive Zapdos is everywhere. And I'm actually going to show you a calc right here. This is wrong calc. This is also the wrong calc. This is also the wrong calc. This is the right calc. Okay, so this is the right calc versus physically defensive Zapdos right here. Now, they're not even running max, but Rock Blast for max attack does 83 to 99%. So after Rocks, defensive Zapdos dies, and you do outspeed defensive Zapdos unless they are running a bit of speed. You are able to outspeed them and 2-hit KO them, and even if you can't, Heat Wave is a 14% chance to 2-hit KO. Well, this is the HP set, but Heat Wave does 2-hit KO you. However, you can beat them before they can beat you, and they can't roost on you. And the important part about this is defensive Zapdos is actually amazing. It's running HP Ice, Roost, Discharge / Thunderbolt, and Heat Wave, and it can break through all the defensive cores. So Heracross being able to break through that really opens up the doors for Pokemon that do struggle versus Zapdos. I'm talking about Scizor. Obviously you wouldn't pair that with Heracross, but like non-Stone Edge, Continental Crush, Landorus, Celesteela, things like that. So Heracross is really important for those. And then obviously Pin Missile again hits Pokemon such as Tapu Bulu, whereas Rock Blast giving you the neutral hit on Pokemon such as Tapu Fini, which cannot OHKO you back. And Heracross actually might have a better place right now since Clef usage in OU is a little bit low. Well, definitely compared to Oras, where it was everywhere, it's lower in Sun and Moon. So being able to 2-hit KO pretty much any defensive wall is ridiculous. Like Skarmory after Rocks is 2-hit KO'd by close combat. So Earthquake is the last move. Now I have Earthquake because Toxapex is running around, and Earthquake allows you to 2-hit KO the Toxapex sets 100% of the time. I actually have a spread right here that's a 164 HP spread, which I will be talking about in the alternative spreads, but that's a 98% chance, so guaranteed 2-hit KO after Black Sludge recovery, 55 to 65%. So Earthquake is there. I think it's necessary because otherwise it does technically wall you. I use that in quotations though, because Rock Blast is doing 36 to 42% to Fizz Def Toxapex. And let's keep in mind, as long as Greninja is running around and Pokemon, Pokemon just like Greninja, even any other special attacker, Celesteela, Volcarona, the Volcarona obviously doesn't care about Toxapex if it has Psychium Z +1, but Toxapex, is not running fully physically defensive anymore. So you're going to be able to massacre that thing with Rock Blast and the EQ most of the time with rocks up. But yeah, that's the main idea of this. Heracross is so bulky that it doesn't matter. You're not OHKOing it unless it's stab, super effective, and either terrain boosted in some sort of way, or like choiced or something like that, because Heracross is just so bulky. Now we do have an alternative spread because of its bulk. Now this spread runs 240 HP and 104 speed. The 104 speed is for defensive Rotom. You could creep a little bit higher. I wanted 164 attack though, because this allows you to 2-hit KO physically defensive Scizor 95% of the time, so it's always a 2-hit KO after rocks. So this is the 248, 116 defense impish spread on Scizor. Your close combat with 164 attack investment does 48 to 57%, and then Scizor's bullet punch isn't doing anything at all to you. Obviously after the defense drops it's doing a little bit more, but still not a 2-hit KO on you. So that's why I really wanted that. And the main reason why I wanted 240 HP, and I was talking with my boy CVB about this, is because we kind of wanted something that could take a hit from like a really threatening mon in the meta. And right here we have Choice Scarf Tapu Lele. Choice Scarf Tapu Lele's Moonblast does 83 to 98%, so you can eat that up and then knock it out with either Pin Missile, or excuse me, this should not be +1, but you can knock it out with Pin Missile, or Rock Blast after Stealth Rock if you want to go for that. But Pin Missile can knock it out after that, or you can take it. Obviously, don't try and take a Psychic or a Psyshock from it because it's Psychic Terrain boosted, so it will be knocking you out either way. But this does allow you to tank hits from that. You also tank hits from Bandit Zygarde better. And basically the exact same set, but just an alternative spread that can take a hit from a monster like that. The next set we have is actually Sub. Now, Sub takes advantage of the fact that it has insane bulk. I actually put 48 HP because Landorus's Earthquake, defensive Landorus's Earthquake now does 24.9% minimum, and in Pokemon it doesn't round up, it rounds down, so it does 24% minimum, which means it cannot break your Sub, and you can sub up on that. You can sub up on Sleep Powders from Tangrowth. You can sub up on Toxapex because Scald does not break your Sub, and then proceed to go for Rock Blast. And obviously, I wanted to just maximize as much attack as possible while leaving your speed at neutral. I think that's important too, because if Mega Heracross is running around, they're probably going to be running Adamant Nature neutral speed. So why risk why risk being slower when you can at least risk a speed tie? That might not make a lot of sense, but in Pokemon where speed can determine a kill or not, I think it is important. Also making you faster than some threats like defensive Zapdos, Heatran, who's not running max speed, though they should be, but also being faster than defensive Landers, defensive Tapu Fini. And I think subbing is also important because you do get a lot of free subs. You do threaten out Pokemon like Tangrowth. You do threaten out... you can also sub up, versus Pokemon like Scizor going for U-turn, allowing you to really not... It just eases prediction, rather. Sub eases prediction. So your opponent can switch out, why go for an attack when you can sub up. I think Close Combat, Pin Missile, Rock Blast is the best bet. Pin Missile allows you to obviously break through Pokemon like Tangrowth as well as Sableye, whereas Rock Blast allowing you to hit Pokemon like Landorus behind a sub. Intimidate doesn't affect you, so with that neutral hit, as well as being able to hit Zapdos, and then Close Combat just there for the raw power of Close Combat. Now, they all have Guts because I think Guts is important on Mega Heracross. I was about to say Mega Sableye, but because just in case you do accidentally get burnt, I don't think you should be tossing it in on Scalds or Will-O-Wisps unless you want to be burnt, because then you can run through with regular Heracross prior to Mega Evolution. But Guts is just the preferred ability. You could try Moxie. Moxie's pretty cool if you can get a kill with regular Heracross and then sub up. That'd be really cool. But besides that, I think this is just a standard subset, taking advantage of the fact that it does force switches, and then hitting your opponent, whatever comes in with Rock Blast, with Pin Missile, with Close Combat Rock Blast, hitting Pokemon like Zapdos as well as Alolan Marowak, and still doing a decent amount to Toxapex. Vizdev Toxapex still taking a ridiculous amount from Rock Blast. Next up we have Swords Dance. Now, it's just full-on Swords Dance, all-out attacking set. Swords Dance, Close Combat, Rock Blast, and Pin Missile. Pin Missile I mentioned for defensive Tangrowth as well as Sableye. I feel like with Heracross being released alongside like Mawile and like Medicham, and the thing with Heracross over those is that Heracross obviously has the speed over Mawile, loses the Sucker Punch, doesn't have Sucker Punch, that Mawile has that priority, but it also has an insane bulk, which is something that it also has over Medicham, though Medicham again has to risk going for high jump kick and has to be paired with Tapu Koko in order to 2-hit KO Sableye with Thunder Punch. Heracross does not care. It just straight up attacks, and Swords Dance just makes it a ridiculous wall breaker. even versus like Bold, Clefable on stall, Bold's unaware Clefable, they're not going to be taking repeated hits, especially because they do take rocks damage and whatnot, and not being trapped by Dugtrio. Dugtrio's Aerial Ace not even KOing Mega Heracross, which is pretty cool as well. I think the only set that it could actually KO would be with Choice Band. We're actually going to calculate right on screen, but a lot of them are running. Aerial Ace is definitely, that's -1 defense though, excuse me. But this is Aerial Ace versus just 0 bulk, 97 to 114. So it's a roll from Choice Band Dugtrio. And if you're running sub, obviously you don't fear that. And on stall specifically, also the 240 HP set doesn't fear that. But on stall specifically, Choice Band Dugtrio is not run. It's either Focus Sash or Groundium Z. Choice Band Dugtrio is ran, but not on stall specifically. That is something that is ran. But Choice Scarf is very common, Choice Band. But it's usually Z move Dugtrio with a sub Tectonic Rage or Focus Sash. That way it guarantees a kill on Pokemon like Hoopa, like Choice Band Tyranitar, all of which give stall problems and then can reversal them back. But yeah, it's just an all-out attacking set. Alternatively, you could potentially use a Jolly set, but the problem with Jolly Mega Heracross is that, again, with the auto speed reduction that they get when they do Mega Evolve, it's slower than Max Speed Heat Ran, which is being ran right now. But obviously, prior to Mega Evolution, Heracross does have base 85 speed, which does make it faster than Pokemon such as Tapu Bulu, such as Heracross. So if you are running on the SD set, you could potentially, especially with the Adamant nature, you could potentially switch it up to Jolly if you want, but I don't know if it's worth it. But of course, this is based on speculation, and we will be testing out Mega Heracross on the ladder once it is allowed on the ladder. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, which will be Sunday, Mega Heracross is allowed on the ladder. But I'm really excited to be able to use it and just click buttons, like literally just click buttons. And having Skill Link is so cool. Being able to just always land 5 times with Pin Missile, always land 5 times with Rock Blast. Alternative moves. Bullet Seed is an option if you want to be able to hit Tapu Fini for a ton of damage. But outside of that, it doesn't really hit anything else. Like bulky waters, such as, and look, this is Rock Blast, by the way. This is just max attack Rock Blast versus 248, 192 defensive Tapu Fini. It's a guaranteed 3-hit KO, and with Stealth Rock up, it could be a KO, 2-hit KO, excuse me. Whereas Bullet Seed obviously is a guaranteed 2-hit KO. Bullet Seed could actually almost OHKO Tapu Fini, so that's something you could think about. Maybe if you want to be able to hit Tapu Fini, as well as OHKOing Pokemon like Defensive Rotom. Because Defensive Rotom should go down to Bullet Seed, yep. And a lot of Rotom are actually running Calm right now for Greninja and things like that. But if Greninja goes, as well as being able to take hits from Tapu Lele and whatnot. But if Greninja goes, then Heracross is going to be even that much better. And then last but not least, you have Suicune, which Vincoon does not care. Vincoon is sub Calm Mind Protect. It's designed to pressure stall. Heracross does not care. So those are also options. I would say knockoff, but I actually don't like knockoff at all on Mega Heracross, because why knock off your opponent's item when you can deal 60-70% of damage, or even be to a KO with your stabs. But in any case, I do want to know your thoughts on Mega Heracross. Obviously, Tapu Fini is a good partner. Landorus is an amazing partner for any Pokemon, but really good for this Pokemon, being able to get up Stealth Rock, because a lot of the guaranteed 2-hit KOs on defensive Pokemon, Stealth Rock do ensure that. But again, I want to know your thoughts. You guys can leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, friends.